I wanted to upload this video around Halloween, but due to the deaths, so tell me 10 million copies in a week, he still lives, he still reigns, and he still is thrilling people like no other people. It starts due to my personal conviction. I wish to stress that this film in no way endorses a belief in the occult. We'll talk about that after. Take it away, Michael. It is 13 minutes long, so have your coffee prepared.
Honestly, we're out of gas.
So, what are we gonna do now? I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
Can I ask you something?
What?
You know I like you, don't you?
Yes?
And I hope you like me the way I like you.
Yes?
I was wondering if you would be my girl.
Oh, Michael. It's beautiful.
Now it's official. I have something I want to tell you.
Yes, Michael?
I'm not like other guys.
Of course not. That's why I love you.
No, I mean I'm different.
What are you talking about? Are you all right?
Get away!
Get out of here.
No, I'm enjoying this.
Well, I can't watch.
Excuse me.
Scrawled in blood. What's it say? See you next Wednesday.
It's only a movie.
It's not funny.
You were scared, weren't you?
I wasn't that scared.
Just a little scared, Michael.
It's close to midnight, and something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. And you start to freeze, and so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed. You hear the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run. You feel the cold hand and wonder if you ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination. Girl, but all the while you hear a creature creeping up behind. You're out of time. They're out to get you. There's demons closing in on every side. They will possess you unless you change that number on your dial. And now is the time for you and I to cuddle close together. Yeah, all through the night, I'll save you from the terror on the screen. I'll make you see.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. Stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
Come on, I'll take you home.
Now, I have to say that was a very long video, but I couldn't help but join in because one of the cool things that happened after that was released. When it was released, everybody talked about it incessantly for about a month. And after that, people were just doing the dances. They were on the dance floor in the discos. And for months later, way after Halloween, people were still doing the Thriller by Michael Jackson. And then what took over is I Want to Be Starting Something. But because that was so fast paced and wasn't as fun aspect, it was almost like Thriller subsided a little bit, kept coming back all the time to the dance floors because DJs loved the atmosphere it produced on the dance floor. I'm sorry for the noise outside. So when it came to producing an album and a single off that album that has stood the test of time, 40 years later, Michael Jackson's Thriller and Thrillin' single is still topping the charts worldwide and outselling artists all over the world continuously. Absolute credit to him. A little bit of background just to give you on the album itself, because a lot of people new to it would need to know this. It was Thriller, the sixth studio album by the singer Michael Jackson, and it was released in '82, and now you know why the '80s were savoured by your parents if you're of the millennials and younger generations thereafter. It was produced by Quincy Jones, who previously worked with Jackson in '79 Off the Wall, and Jackson wanted to create an album where every song was a killer. Now, The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, Want to Start Something, Human Nature, Pretty Young Thing and Thriller all came off the album. They all featured in the charts, and the album itself was consecutively #1, I think, the Thriller album for nearly a year, from '83 to '84 almost, I remember. People were still buying it. So I just want to close this window. And I hope that helps a little bit, because it's all live here. I mean, I have to run to the window to close it. So I can remember it just going on, and I think every single person around me had bought that album and just savored him, and he became this new phenomenon in himself. Prince Michael in the video, don't forget the link about Prince Michael I talked about before. There is a link talking about the importance of the 3 albums, Off the Wall, Thriller and Bad, talking about his family home, and he does an annual Halloween event to raise money to carry on Michael Jackson's legacy for a charitable organization where all the money goes towards that, and it was very important to his father's heart, and he's continued the legacy. He shows you the studio where Michael had produced the 3 albums, and I think he was being interviewed above the studio, but he showed the actual bedroom on the estate where Michael and his brother had done, I think the brother was called Tito, and he did the strumming of the guitar before Van Halen came in and did that. So that kind of thing it's all exciting, and it's all connected as well. Thriller became Jackson's first #1 album in the US Billboard, where it spent, as I said, 37 consecutive weeks. So that's a long time in America, but a lot longer in Europe, I have to say. Now, with 32 million copies sold then, and hundreds of millions of copies sold since, and imagine 10 million copies sold before Halloween of this year, 2022. So the effect of Michael Jackson in Thriller is still ongoing. It has set the standard for the music industry with its songs, music videos, and promotion strategies, influencing artists, record labels, and producers, marketeers, and choreographers. Jackson's success and immediate influence led him to having a standing cultural significance that was not attained by a black American before him in the history of the entertainment industry, because they were stereotyped. And it was all about disco music, and everybody thought tight trousers for the men, glitter for the women, and black artists were just stereotypical of, in your mind, of the disco era. And Michael just smashed that door. As Prince Michael said in his interview, and it's worth clicking onto, it's connected to this video, he did say he smashed the artists for minority artists and for anybody with colour and persuasion to be taken seriously, that what they can produce and what they're about is far different from what is perceived by generic, whiter, lighter coloured people, which is very, very true, because black artists were pushed and stereotyped and labelled, and that was it. But Michael came along and smashed all that away, and that's why he was very revolutionary in those 3 albums. Not just the Thriller, also the Bad and the Off the Wall album. Off the Wall was sensational. And then to come out with Thriller and then Bad, there was so much pressure on Michael to do a Bad. I can remember a report around the 90s or 80s, it was around that time, that Michael hid away for months on end writing the follow through to Thriller Bad. And it was so secretive. He had hundreds of security people around him when he went back and forth for wherever he was doing the music and recording. And it was in a box, and it was so tight that nobody got a peek until the Bad album was released. And we weren't disappointed either. But still, out of all his albums, it's his best-selling album, Thriller. Thriller remains that best-selling album of all time. Now again, it's with sales, because I gave you the earlier figure, in the 80s, 32 million copies in a year. Imagine that. It's incredible. And since then, it's surpassed 100 million copies. It is the second best album in the United States and certified 34 platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. It won a record-breaking 8 Grammy Awards in the 84 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, while Beat It won Record of the Year. Jackson also won a record-breaking 8 American Music Awards at the 1984 American Music Awards, and the album has been a frequent inclusion on lists of the greatest albums of all time. In 2008, it was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and the same year, the Library of Congress chose to preserve it to the National Recording Registry of culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant recordings. And that is your update and bio of Thriller. Thanks for listening. It's gone on long enough. Take care for now. Bye bye.